We are always taught to avoid stress and pressure at all costs. What if I told you that this is probably the worst advice that you could ever give any person who truly wants to change your life? Under pressure, diamonds are created, and today I'm going to teach you how to use stress to your advantage, why stress is actually good, and why it helps us become the person that we want to become. You need to be under pressure in order to be anything. Every person that ever has achieved anything great was under a whole lot of pressure while trying to achieve that thing. Without pressure, without stress, nothing good can come, because what stress and pressure does is it does not only overwhelm us. We all know this as this thing, or stress as this thing that just sends us into chaos mode. It makes us feel overwhelmed. It makes us feel like there's too much to jiggle. We have too many things to do. It just makes us feel overwhelmed. But biologically, what stress really is, if you break it down to the scientific basis, basically, it is the activation of the sympathetic nervous system and the HPA axis. And this is basically your brain and body releasing chemicals that make you prepared to act. So, take this. It makes you prepare for action. This is what stress does. So basically, this means it increases your alertness, so you're more prone to realize things. Then, it gives you higher energy availability, so you don't feel sluggish when you're stressed. You are under stress, that means you need energy. This is what is basically allocated in that moment. And then it focuses your attention. It narrows your attention down onto the stressor, onto the thing that you're focusing on. So it basically gives you this laser pointer focus, sort of. It makes you less distracted. This is what stress does. In other words, your brain, when it is under stress, allocates resources to something that it considers important. It allows you to not half-ass what you're trying to achieve, but actually focus on that thing, use all available energy to get there, and then go ahead and do it. This is what stress does. It makes you go all in. And if we really think about it, life is all in. Stress is not what kills you necessarily. Life kills you. You are here and you have a deadline. At some point, you're going to drop dead. And basically, everything you do is important. A lot of people don't realize this. Everything you do matters. And stress helps you achieve the things that you want to achieve. So basically, what stress also does is it makes you release dopamine. Because what people get wrong about dopamine, when we think about dopamine, what do we think about? We think about pleasure. We think about, oh, if I smoke a cigarette, I get dopamine. If I drink coffee, I get dopamine. If I'm on this roller coaster, I release dopamine. Yes, that's right. But this is not just the thing that dopamine is responsible for. Dopamine is first and foremost, it is something that is used as a motivation and learning signal in our body. And so there's like 3 certain types of situations where dopamine is usually released. A, if we predict reward. If we do something and we think that something's going to come from this is when we release dopamine. Then, second of all, it's when we experience progress towards goals. So when we try to accomplish something and we realize, oh, we're getting closer to that thing, this is also when we release dopamine. And then the third thing is when we get something unexpected positive. So this would be, oh, I won this ticket to whatever concert. This is also something that creates dopamine. But first and foremost, dopamine is released when we predict a positive outcome and when we move closer to that positive outcome. This is what I want you to remember. So when you move toward a goal, which you find important, which you find valuable, and which you think is going to give you something that you want, this is when you release dopamine. This is when you start to feel happy. And what stress does is it helps you achieve that. It helps you achieve that goal. It helps you focus on the thing that you're trying to achieve, so it makes you happy indirectly. And most importantly, this does not just feel good. This creates meaning in your life. Without goals and to attain to, without a road to follow, without a path to go on, there's no meaning. And this is what we see in people with depression. What they suffer from is something called anhedonia. They don't want to do anything. They're just passive. They would rather just stay in bed and rot in there because they don't find any goals to achieve. They don't create any pressure or stress for themselves because they don't stress anything. Nothing means anything to them. Because to stress means also to, give weight to something. And if you don't give weight to anything, there's nothing that you could, work towards. So the absence of stress and the absence of meaningful goals to attend to is basically depression. So stress is fundamental to our well-being. So if you loosen the pressure, you lose meaning. The price of letting yourself flunk out, letting go of the pressure and the stress that you sometimes put yourself under, caring less, will make you feel worse off. So which pain do you prefer? The pain of feeling stressed but giving meaning to things, or the pain of not giving meaning to anything, feeling relaxed at the same time? I think that's a pretty easy answer. So every time you achieve a goal, something critical happens. In psychology, this is called self-efficacy. What happens is you basically update your beliefs every time that you achieve a goal. Because what this means to your brain is I can influence outcomes. So let's say you told yourself, I'm going to run a mile in so and so many minutes. Then you go to the gym regularly, go running regularly, and at some point you achieve the goal. And then what your brain realizes is, if I actually set a goal, I put my mind to it, I put myself under stress and pressure to reach that goal, I can actually change my life. I can change the outcomes. I can change myself. And this is what gives you confidence at the end of the day. This is what a lot of people don't realize. Confidence is earned. And confidence comes through putting yourself through stressful and difficult situations and coming out a stronger person, a stronger, better person on the other side. So positive emotions don't come from comfort. This is what I want you to take from this video. You don't chill and suddenly feel like a bad bitch. This does not happen. This is not the way we're built. Overcoming challenges triggers dopaminergic reward. It triggers feelings of mastery, and it makes you more confident. This leads to you feeling prideful, satisfied, and competent. And this is what we want at the end of the day, right? This is what life is about. So you have to earn these states. It's nothing that you can just achieve through passivity alone. What stress also will make you do is it will make you reach the flow state. When you're challenged and the challenge that you're confronted with and your skill that you bring to the challenge are balanced, or like at a very even level, so to say. So this is your skill and this is the challenge you're attending. And it really matches. This is a state that is uncomfortable because it's almost too difficult. Not entirely, but almost too difficult. When you have this state, this is the state where you reach flow state. And flow state is something where your default mode network in your brain is basically less activated. So you're not doubting yourself as much. You're losing your sense of time, perception of yourself as well. Maybe you've experienced this at some point when you did something that you really were passionate about, that really was fun to you, where you just lost sense of time. You forgot that you were a person because you became so merged with the thing that you were doing. And this is also something that stress is a precursor for, because it is stressful to have your skill here and the challenge here. This is stressful, but it can send you into flow state. And this is one of the most rewarding states that your brains can produce. It leads to deep focus, and it really makes you completely engaged with the thing that you're doing. So at the end of the day, what I want you to take from this video is stress is not inherently bad. What is bad is meaningless stress. So stress that you experience because of things that don't mean anything to you, that you don't think anything good is going to come from. If you just suffer meaninglessly, this is not what it's about. But if you experience stress while doing something that you really love or something that you really want to attain, this is what life is about. So I hope that I could change your mind about stress a little bit, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.